Now, none of you reminded me yesterday, I often do this. Remember, what if you weren't afraid and how your life would... Not one of you reminded me because nobody wants to talk about it. Any astute observations by my learned, for today we'll call you colleagues, from my learned colleagues, why nobody brought that up? You brought all the other shit up I gave you to do, but that one you didn't. It's pretty fucking obvious, isn't it? And that's what I'm telling you. If you can't even bring it up in a goddamn... well, this isn't exactly a closed environment because we got the fucking meatheads on fucking YouTube sometimes. But you could have brought it up to me when they weren't YouTubers. This really says it all. And it's why I beat it so much. If I didn't talk about anything except self-esteem the whole fucking seminar, you still wouldn't follow the templates. But after YouTube, we're going to talk about that. After YouTube. Now, I would be a liar or an exaggerator if I said that I got these every day. But I almost get them every fucking day. It's a guy says even though I was thrown out of the mentor program, I get so many, Thelma Winnicott gets so many emails. Even though I was thrown out of the mentor program, I've been swinging for the fences ever since. I've just signed a PSA, that's a purchase sales agreement, $2 million deal down in New Mexico someplace. In some cases, when you get thrown out, it gives you an extra kick up the ass. In some cases, you just roll over and turn into a vegetable. I've kept no logs, so I don't know how many vegetables versus how many people go on and complete the program on their own time frame. I really care that you can complete the program in the shortest amount of time because it benefits me more. And this whole thing is because it's benefiting me more. The ancillary benefits are to you. The main benefits to me. And you've run your whole life just the opposite. Instead of running your life that you should benefit yourself, you pleasing vagina cunts are benefiting somebody else because you want to fit in and please them. All you got to do is, it's not so easy. I say flip the switch, but it's not that easy. If it were that easy, it's just like 4 words that I could have written a book about. Just fucking do it. That's the most perfect, simple metaphor that I can give. But it's that easy. It's as easy as using those words. Just fucking do it. But we all know it's not that easy because to just fucking do it, I don't know the right anthropological phrases or the biological or biochemistry. I don't know the right way to describe it. But you have to close down your whole previous life. I had a sales manager named Kelly Norwood. He was from Tennessee. He looked like Colonel Sanders, and he went to Bolt Hall Law School at Berkeley. He was a defrocked. He got his license taken away from him. And he was my sales manager when I was going to graduate school and I was selling land near the Antelope Valley, in Lake Havasu before there was a lake. And he says, Peña, a young boy like you, he said, you ought to close every motherfucker that walks through the door. I never sold shit. That's 100% okay. Then I had a 94.6% closing ratio. That was my expectation. The fact that he was a defrocked lawyer, and he says, Peña, you gotta boraxo their brain. That's like cleaning the hard drive. Okay? Boraxo used to be a soap that was so strong that it would take the hide off you. And the Boraxo salesperson was Ronald Reagan, President Ronald Reagan, before he was governor. When he had a lull in his acting career, he did Boraxo commercials. He said, you got to Boraxo their brain, Peña. And it's not dissimilar to this. You've got to scrub almost all the data you've got. I.e., like you saw last night, love doesn't mean a shit, okay? Well, I knew that since I'm a little kid. Some of you still don't believe it, even though you saw the fucking movie. And so I Boraxoed their brain, and I sold them. I sold them raw land where a lake was going to be built, and they were going to move their London Bridge or Tower Bridge, whatever the bridge they moved from England there. But all you saw was, in fact, Antelope Valley is not any different. All you see is miles and miles of shit. It's one of the great shitholes of America. And she happens to live right in the middle of it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and when we were talking, I know a lot about, she says, you know a lot about this. Well, I was one of the first ones to discover that place. It's like I'm a pioneer back in the early 70s. And they were talking about an intercontinental airport. I mean, and they've tried twice, right?
They did, yeah.
Okay, and we were selling land off the back of this airport that we knew would never get there. We knew we'd never. Did you ever wonder why the Denver airport, Denver, Colorado, is 45 miles away from Denver? Mayor Peña, my namesake, and the boulevard that you take from Denver to the airport is Peña Boulevard, because it was paying back political contributions to people that had funded Democrats. And so they put the airport, they bought everybody's fucking land that ever donated to the Democratic Party, 45 miles out. That's why it's there. Highway 105 from downtown Los Angeles to the LAX airport. It's not a straight road. It's because Mayor Bradley paid off every black constituent that had donated money to his campaigns over the years, and the road goes like this to South Central LA. That's the real world. Now, people from Chicago and New York, they understand that. Yeah, they understand that, but people in Des Moines, Iowa don't get that. You know, from Topeka, Kansas, they don't get that shit. You know, a man's a man and a woman's a woman because she squats and has a kid in the fucking, you know, when you plow a field, you plow these furrows, just squatting and having to keep pulling that fucking plow. But we get these all the time. And and I'm not sure if they're telling me, it even worked for me, Mr. Peña. This is a poor Mexican. He said that, please let Dan know that this Mexican has laser beam focus. And they always got, I know by his name who he is, but he's got to add that I'm just a poor Mexican. Poor fucking Mexican. He happens to be a lawyer. He's a guy I mentioned, I think, yesterday. Walked away from his legal practice because they were paying him in chickens and hogs and shit. Okay? And then get another email from my boys in Haiti. My two little guys in Haiti. And the opportunities are available, but paranoia is high. The hospitality sector is taking a hit. Best Western just closed their hotel. Okay, and he goes on to describe it. I told him water. Water, okay. And so but they're down there because they didn't leave the seminar to go to Haiti. I had to cajole them and beat them and shame them a little. But we get these all the time because even though I know you can do it in a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and now the new system is 90 days, it's tough to break down that old DNA. It's tough to break down those old systems. It's tough. Now, it's not tough for me because I just fucking do it. Because I'm one of the few that don't care about the consequences. I don't care one fucking bit about the collateral damage. I know that if I don't, you know, the old adage, break eggs to make an omelet, which is a whole horse shit, but you do break it. And there's not an omelet made that doesn't have a little chip of egg in it, you know, a little eggshell. Well, you're trying to keep the chips of eggshell out of your omelets. Do you die from that little chip of eggshell that you might chew or get in your mouth? No. Is it annoying? Yeah, but, well, you know, and that's not how you take it out, and that's not the proper way to take it out, you know. But there's collateral damage. And unfortunately, most of your collateral damage is going to be your family. No matter how you cut it. No matter how you cut it. And for those of you that the pay price to action is, you know, do you want it bad enough? And I'm not saying, when I started this 26 years ago, I didn't realize that. Of course, I thought everybody had self-esteem too, but I didn't get that part either. But even after I realized you don't have self-esteem, I didn't realize the collateral damage was almost always going to be, we'll start with your family. Start with your family. But once that busts up, I mean, you can take anything then. Because some of you actually think that you're in love and all that shit. Okay, last night you saw some things, but not the least of which was love doesn't count or love doesn't mean shit or whatever it is. From Nick, who I've talked to, and I tried to get Nick to come here last year and it didn't work out, and he's a cantankerous old bastard. He tried to meet me at the Open, the tennis Open, the U.S. Open, which didn't work out. Our schedules didn't match. And but in a word, if you had one word to describe Nick.
Just do it.
Well, that's 2 words. Yes, sir.
Indifferent?
Well, it's worse than being indifferent. He has no sympathy or apathy for anybody. Pardon?
At the end, he was pretty emotional with Agassi. He was sort of crying.
Yeah, well, because he fucked that up. But all during the fuck up, he just doubled down, tripled down. Big guys, sorry is not in their vocabulary. And they all double and triple down on mistakes. I may be wrong, but I'm never in doubt. 100% of them. Since Attila the Hun, you know, whoever was, they never, and they don't make excuses. They just give you more reasons why they should have done it, and why they did it. And some of them, it's like, remember, a political speech. And the talking points sometimes don't make sense. But that's all they give you. And they never explain. All you do is explain. All you do is make excuses. You never double down. You always say you're sorry. I can go on and on. Okay, if success leaves clues, the lack of success also leaves clues. The lack of success also leaves clues. So if you did when we get around back to when we're not on YouTube about if you were never afraid, etc. If you did the opposite of what you've done all your life so far, the antithesis, where would you be? You would have taken more risks. You would have done what you say that you'd like to do because you've seen people do it with your own eyeballs, right? Meatheads. Oh, maybe not meatheads, but almost meatheads, right? And that's why I left the Wall Street firm I was with. I saw fucking people, cretins. I don't know if an imbecile is higher than a cretin or whatever. But anyway, I saw imbeciles making tens of millions of dollars. They went to sweat off my ass. I left. Boom. I didn't think about it. Blah, blah. Of course, I saw the KKR guys leave before me. But they hadn't really hit it when I left, because I left shortly after they did. They hadn't really, made a lot of money yet. But I saw 3 of the smartest guys in the firm fucking leave. And I saw another guy, Bruce McMahon, leave, another smart guy. And then I got to get on this train. So within 6 months, I left. But you guys are still spreadsheeting it. Some of you in this room, not just this room, but on YouTube, have had an idea that you've never enacted or acted upon for a long time. It's one thing when Ozan says he's been studying me 4 years since he's in junior high school, or the equivalent. And then he came. But that's not your case. You haven't been studying this fucking program since junior high school. Okay, what else about the movie? Nick? Yes, sir.
He didn't know anything about Dennis.
But you want to know about you need to know. You want to know about dentistry. You need to know about substance abuse. You need to know about mobile home parks. You won't believe me because you have no confidence in yourself. You don't have to know a goddamn thing about any fucking thing that we roll up. And the more you know, the longer it's going to take you. The more you know, the higher the probability of your fucking failure. But you can't believe that. Because it's so it's against everything that's human nature, whatever. I don't know what the fuck the right words are. Even though I show you example after example. Because you've already discounted all the people that you've seen so far. Well, I know she can do it, but no, she's a smart French bitch. I probably can't do that. You're not saying this verbally. But in your little subconscious, your little weak, weenie subconscious, that's what you're saying. We have people that have discounted Josh Kim. Oh, well, fuck, he must be Einstein. He must be this. He must be that. And then some people that don't do their homework, well, he went on to the best schools. He didn't go to any fucking school. His only claim to fame, and I'm not discounting it because I was a Boy Scout too, he was an Eagle Scout. That's his only claim to fame. But a lot of those guys up on that wall were Eagle Scouts. So, success leaves clues. I was only a star. I discovered girls shortly after becoming a star, and so I never became alive for an eagle. I was ahead of the curve a little bit in that regard. Although I was Boy Scout of the Year for the Southwestern United States. I don't list that on my LinkedIn, but I was. Boy Scout. Which those guys, President Ford, there's a lot of guys, big guys that I followed in their footsteps. But I guess President Ford must have discovered girls after I did. Later in its chronological deal. So if you just did the opposite, for some of you, not all of you, because you're in different stations in life, you should just go out and do the exact opposite of what you did for the last 5 years, for the next 5 years. Okay, what else about the movie? Yes, sir.
Even after he dropped Agassi and felt bad about it, he trained his competitor to beat him.
To how to beat him. Correct. I think it was Becker, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
You almost couldn't understand the concept of stopping to think about something. He would just react, just go with his gut instinct on every decision.
Animal instinct. That's it. Didn't know how to play tennis. Arguably, some people say he can't play tennis. Because sitting at the net going this is not playing tennis. But you want to know. He's one of the classic examples. And the reason why we use him, it's because, he's pretty well known. In the tennis world, he's very well known. Isn't he? Yeah. Can't remember his ex-wife's names, as I recall. He says, do I have 7 or 8? Okay. I think that's beautiful. Can't remember his kids' names. And you're going to go buy your little baby boy a birthday card or some horse shit, right? See, I can see in your eyes you still don't believe it. Really, you don't want to believe it. Because for you to believe it, that means you've wasted your whole fucking life and you should have killed yourself or never been born, which is exactly what the real true facts are. For those of you who were born, you should have fucking taken your lives years ago. You didn't just wake up last week and decide, I'm a worthless piece of shit, did you? It's a building process, right? It's a building process. Well, fuck, I didn't do this, I did this, I failed at this, I didn't do this, it took me 9 years to do it, blah, 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 blah. So you didn't just, oh, fuck, I had an epiphany, I'm a worthless person. No, it's a building block. So why? Because desperation and inspiration, people come here, and there's nobody inspired in this room, so that what else are you? You got reasons why it took you so long to get here. Not just money. not just money. What if, how did the people come here before I was on YouTube? How did the people come here before I gave all my stuff away free? They must have really been ballsy motherfuckers. They must have had cojones that they couldn't walk because their balls hung down so low. Bruce the Whipple, to name one. What else about the movie? Yes, sir.
The importance of the mental game. In the Becker match against Agassi, Becker was able to break Agassi's mental confidence and won the match decisively.
Well, since you guys have no mental confidence, we don't have to worry about that. We're starting from scratch. Okay? Yeah, but a lot of the business is a mental game. But see, just as I tell you, I'm not a refined salesman. I'm a numbers guy. I crush them. The hatchet up there, when I was called Hatchet Man, I got that on my. When I got arrested in Wausau, Wisconsin. Who's the Wisconsin guy? Yeah. When I got arrested in Wausau, when I came back, that's what my partners gave me, that hatchet. Because I've never been. I wasn't that way with the opposite sex. I was a hammer. You ask enough girls to blow you, somebody's going to blow you. It's that simple. Try it. As Sally would say, you might have some fun. We still, a very good buddy of mine, he's gone now. He said it's a numbers game. He says, if I stood here on Madison and 45th or something street in New York City, and I asked girls to fuck me, somebody's going to fuck me. So we parked his limousine. I'm sitting in the backseat with champagne. And the 17th woman he asked, he got spit on, slapped, kicked. The 17th woman he asked went like this. I got a couple hours, your place or mine? He comes back into the limousine. I'm sitting in the limousine in the back drinking champagne. And she says, oh, God, you didn't tell me it was a threesome. I haven't done a threesome in a while. It wasn't a threesome. It was just for him. We used to go to bars, and I'd start at one end of the bar, and I would not get to the whole end of the bar of girls before I got laid. There used to be a place in LA called Jack's Office. This is the late 60s, early 70s. Jack's Office. It was on Reseda Boulevard and Ventura Boulevard. If you couldn't get laid there, it's because you didn't have a dick. You know why the girls, they call you honey? So they don't have to learn your name. Oh, give it to me, honey, give it to me. So they don't have to learn your name. Used to be able to get laid 2 or 3 times a night in that bar. Forget going to room, bathroom, on the dance floor. Now you give them candy, don't you? You give them flowers. What they need now, metaphorically speaking, what they need is a slap in the mouth. That's what they need. What else about Nick? Yes, sir.
He was using psychology of high performance.
Well, I mean, he's a brute. You know, you were there, okay? But I mean, he would be considered old school now, very old school, Neanderthal. But you can't argue with his results. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's a bit like he had more certainty than the students and teachers that are good at teaching. It's called the Pygmalion effect.
Yeah.
It's to bring the students up to certainty.
But most kids, and he can talk to that better than I because he was there, most kids don't realize what they're capable of. Of course, so it's a fine line, you know, how much do you, I don't mean physically beat him, or how much do you coach him, and how much do you cajole him, and how much do you bullshit him. But when you've already been extremely successful, and Nick's been successful a long, long time as a tennis coach, people go there because he's considerably, arguably the best, if not one of the best, And but it's not dissimilar to the financial guru business that some of you have participated in. You've been led to believe, mostly wrongly, that these people are the best, but you don't check the credentials. Yeah.
But at the end, it's all about you. Like, you can stand there and be at the best of the best places, and it's when you meet yourself. Well, if you are backing where you came from and doing the best with what you have, you really have to take in the lessons of being there. And
well, yeah, the experience of being here. You can't pay for it.
It's gonna come from out of you.
Yeah, but I mean, most people haven't been to a place like this. And some of you, unfortunately, will never be at a place like this again. That's the real tragedy. This should not be the high point of your life, staying at this estate. You have not arrived just because you came to this fucking place. You have not arrived. And I don't want to lead you to, and this is part of the close, I don't want to lead you to believe that, that everything is roses and ice cream from here on in, because this is just the beginning. I mean, the real work is once you get out of here. What else about Nick? Yes, ma'am.
Becco said he's not a tennis coach, he's a life coach.
Yeah.
And
well, and there's a lot of definitions to life coach, and I'm sure Doc can give us all of them, which we're not interested in. But it's not a life coach; it's really a head coach, and life coaches aren't head coaches. Okay, I work with. I put in your life what you should have been put in your life if you wanted to be a high performance person. Because as we've already indicated, kids aren't trained to be high performance unless you're the Williams sisters or somebody like that. Or you're Agassi and Steffi Graf's kid. It'll be hard for them not to be super athletic. Both Steffi Graf and Agassi have said they don't want their kids to be in tennis. But I assure you, if whatever sport they go into, and it'd be almost impossible for them not to go into any sport. They're going to be, they've got the genes. They've got, they're role models. When they go through the hall, they had not a 60 Minutes, but one of those programs where they went into their house in Las Vegas, and trophies after plaques after photographs. They're not dissimilar to when you come into my office. And so the kids are growing up seeing that. How did Daddy, win the Grand Slam, the 4 majors? How did he do this? How did he do that? Whereas when you went home, you came through the garage into the side kitchen. I'm exaggerating here. Saw dirty pots and pans. Your old man yelling at your old lady. Jeez. Isn't that terrific? And I look at some of you, that's not much of an exaggeration, is it? Maybe you came through the front door and you didn't come through the side door from the garage. But and all that rubs off. Anything else about Nick? Yes, sir.
Just like Steve Jobs, he was a good marketer. So the moment he saw that the chance he had with Agassi, the Agassi gave him the possibility of doing TV and commercials and everything else and promote his academy. So he took a full advantage of that.
Yeah.
Without any remorse.
But why should you have remorse about telling how good you were? See, just the way that he said that, whether he meant it that way or not, why would you have to have any remorse because you were the best? Because being the best, you're not fitting in. Excuse me. You're not fitting in. And we've been taught to fit in. There's a picture of me, that's the window that I dropped the aquarium out of almost killed the teacher. If I had been a better dropper of aquariums, I wouldn't be sitting here. The fact that he moved 6 or 7 or 8 inches and I dislocated his shoulder, because I still remember his shoulder was sitting down here. So the aquarium, people ask me, how did you get the aquarium up to the window? Well, I was a big kid, strong, and it weighed about 50 pounds. We're guessing 50 pounds. It was like this by this, full of water. Now, I feel sorry for the fish because the fish were all died, you know? And I tried to find the teacher. These people that I've hurt over the years, every single one of them I've gone after to try to not make amends, but find. By the time I found him, he was already dead. The teacher was dead. But I've gone back and because I believe that when somebody, because there are going to be very few people that give you a hand up and not want something. There's a lot of people that ostensibly will give you a hand up, but they want something. Okay? And so the people that I've had the privilege of being helped by, hand up, like Costa Grazos, Jim Newman, or anything. Costa Grazos, I never paid him a nickel. He never paid me a nickel. He never asked me, well, he didn't ask me for anything. He told me, you're going to go do this, you're going to do that, and I just said yes. But if that, had turned out another way, what else about Nick? Yes, sir.
He was consistent, not only just with his players, his interaction was the same with Julio, the gentleman that he worked with, and even the guy that was interviewing him. He told Julio, remember, I come first. And basically... Now,
when don't lie to me. I don't want your hand up. When have you ever in your lives said, I come first? Rare, if any. Correct? Some of you, never. From this day forward, when you think about, there's never an easy time to make a hard decision. When you're going to have decision trees. You're going to go through 1,000 decision trees. Should I do this? Should I do that? Should I go this way? Should I go that way? And you're going to look at the templates, and the templates are made that, most of the templates are made by people that take action irrespective of the consequences. You're not going to be able to shake your idea of the consequences. You drive and drink up in Scotland, you lose your license. That's a given. Okay, 1 pint of beer is over the limit here in Scotland. 1 pint. Well, I mean, I haven't drank beer in a long time, but you're just getting going. You're just wetting your lips with a pint, right? Well, so there are consequences, and but I mean, he was a ruthless guy, and he's still going hard in his late 80s. Anything else about? Yes, in the back.
He said, if you don't do wrong, you never do right.
Yeah. Some of you in this room have never done wrong. And that doesn't mean I want you to go out and do bad things. That's not what I'm saying. Did you have a comment? Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to comment that he failed to monetize. He built a great school, he built a great product, but he was never able to make it a self-sustaining venture and was forced out. So I think that's a big caution to most of us who love to focus on the details, focus on the craft, and not the money.
Well, he got forced out because for 30 or 40 years, he's been doing it, I guess 50 years now, 30 or 40 years, he was in the eye of the tiger, and and he didn't need money to put on a pair of shorts and a T-shirt and come from the locker room or wherever the thing there, to work. But the effectiveness of his methodology is extraordinary. Now, Bobby Knight, the basketball guy, and Woody Hayes, the football guy, coach, old school coaches. Bobby Knight got fired for hitting a player with a chair. I don't know what he got fired the second time for it when he was down at TCU coaching. Woody Hayes was playing some lesser school, Vanderbilt or somebody, and the guy got around the corner and was going to score for a touchdown. Woody Hayes threw his clipboard down and tackled him himself on the field. Fired. His career over. He says, I couldn't see that little fucking, whatever he was, score. Threw his clipboard down and tackled him himself. He knew, he says, as my shoulders hit the kid and I drove him into the ground, I knew my career was over. But there's some things worth dying for. Most of you in this room haven't found it yet. When the guy spits in your mother's face in the success test, if you don't take a pen and carve his eye out, you're a cunt. Yet 96% of the people that answer that question answer it incorrectly. When I was at the University of Peña, a black woman stood up and says, I'd scratch his face off. And then 10 or 15 guys got 400 people in the fucking audience. One black lady. I'd scratch his face off. And then 10, 12, 14 people stood up. Yeah. And the others. What else about Nick? Anything else? Yes, sir.
It wasn't just if you don't do wrong, you won't do right. But he says if you don't do wrong, you won't get to the top of the mountain.
Yeah, there's nobody at the top of any profession that hasn't made a bunch of mistakes and done a lot of shit wrong. That's just, it's not dissimilar to learning anything proficiently. There was another, yes?
I was going to say that there was really nothing sophisticated about what he did. It was just good old school mentality, get up and do it and repeat it until you believe it. Later he added like the big, psychologist and mental programs and to add some like flair to it. But it was just raw, get up and do it. And we're just going to stick to it. Really, there was not like some scientific studies where, nothing fancy.
Well, but if success, it has nothing to do with scientific studies. The longer you work, the easier it gets. But there's not such a thing as, practice makes perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. Most of you have been practicing something which is out of this world, in my judgment, but it wasn't perfect. It didn't work. To me, perfection is results. Results. Like the guy that sent me this about this $2 million mobile home park, the ex-lawyer, a recovering lawyer, I think he calls himself. He just went out and did it. The alternative to him is, did he like getting chickens and pigs for his fees? Because he's in a rural community in New Mexico. Yes?
Well, he knew Agassi would produce results for him. That's why he didn't kick him out. And he said in there, I should have kicked him out. But he saw something in him. He knew he'd be a star. He knew he's marketable. He wanted to win so bad. He kept him in the program.
Well, and now LeBron James was mouthing off about during the national anthem at a basketball game here recently. I just saw it. It was in my feed. I didn't look at it, but he was jumping up and down on the sidelines. And I don't know if he was anti-American, but anyway, during the national anthem when you're supposed to be quiet and he's a Laker now. Now, Jerry Buss would have fired him on the spot, on the court. The founder of the Lakers. Not the founder, but the owner for 30, 40 years. But now, one, he's black. Two, he's super well known. And I don't think he's even going to get slapped on the wrist for it.
He got slapped for not supporting Hong Kong.
Slap what? When you're making $40 million a year, a $5,000 fine, it doesn't mean much. So, you take $5 million from him, you see I'm pretty sure almost all the athletes would fall in line. But, it's got to be a pay price to action. Okay, YouTube.